You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. Today is also the feast day of St. Justin Martyr, a man who lived and died for the faith when Christianity was still illegal in most of the world back in the 100s. Kelly from Redbird Ministry is back again to continue to talk to us about saints who experienced grief and how God can use these experiences and bring healing.
Today's saints are St. Louis and Zélie Martin. St. Louis and St. Zélie Martin met in Alicante, and on July 13, 1858, Louis and Zélie married and began their remarkable voyage through life. Within the next 15 years, Zélie bore 9 children, 7 girls and 2 boys. Zélie wrote, "We lived only for them. They were all our happiness." The Martins' delight in their children turned to shock and sorrow as tragedy relentlessly stalked their little ones. Within 3 years, the Martins lost their 2 baby boys, their 5-year-old daughter, and their 6.5-week-old baby girl. Zélie was left numb with sadness. "I haven't a penny worth of courage," she lamented, but her faith sustained her through these terrible ordeals. In a letter to her sister-in-law, who had lost an infant son, Zélie recalled, "When I closed the eyes of my dear little children and buried them, I felt sorrow through and through. People said to me it would have been better never to have had them, but I couldn't stand such a language," she wrote. "My children were not lost forever. Life is short and full of miseries, and we shall find our little ones again up above." Though the suffering had left its mark on mother and father, it was not the scar of bitterness. Louis and Zélie had already found relief and support in their faith. The Martins' last child was born on January 2nd, 1873. She was weak and frail, and doctors feared for the infant's life. The family, so used to death, was preparing themselves for yet another loss. Zélie wrote of her 3-month-old girl, "I have no hope of saving her. The poor little thing suffers horribly, and it breaks my heart to see her this way." The baby girl proved to be much more challenging than anyone realized. She survived the illness. A year later, she was a big baby browned by the sun, Zélie noted. "The baby is full of life, giggles a lot, and is a sheer joy to everyone." The sufferings of child loss and illness that Louis and Zélie Martin experienced intensified their love for one another. Their love overflowed, and they poured affection on their 5 surviving daughters, Marie, who was 12, Pauline, 11, Leonie, 9, Celine, 3, and their newborn daughter, whom they named Marie-Françoise Thérèse Martin. A century later, people would know her as Saint Therese, and she would be called the Little Flower. Saint Therese of Lisieux was one of the doctors of the Church. In fact, she's one of only 4 women doctors of the Church. Such an extraordinary title for any saint. Saint Therese in the Story of a Soul talks often about how the intercession of her siblings was part of her vocation story. So what does that actually mean? That means that Saint Therese prayed to her siblings for the strength, the guidance, the discernment when she was discerning her call to religious life. Saint Therese would recall every night that she would pray to her siblings who had died. I just love this. As a mother of loss, I encourage my family each night to pray for the intercession of our family to our 3 little saints that are in heaven. Each night, our family, when we're saying nightly prayers, our daughter Estelle, who's 13, will start off first. And each night she prays to her sister, Emma Grace, and her brothers, Talon, Antoine, and Christian Ryan. She prays every night for their intercession, the intercession of our family. And she asks them three to intercede on behalf of us for protection and for guidance as we await the glory of heaven. When she first started doing this, it just pleased my mama heart so much, because as a mother of loss, our greatest fear is that someone will forget that our children lives. And so having my living daughter acknowledge that her brothers and her sister, their names are said and spoken every single night, it's beautiful. As an encouragement to all of the families who might be listening to this podcast, if you've lost a child through pregnancy, to name your baby. If you don't know how to feel about that, I suggest your little sprouts be a part of this discernment. It's always beautiful to see how their little faith will shine forth when asked, what do you want to name your sibling? Be prepared, you might get some crazy ones, but I think it's a beautiful process that our children will be a part of this beautiful, sacred, holy moment in our lives. And two, if you really don't know how to feel about this, I want to give you permission. I didn't know how to feel about it either. We lost our son through miscarriage at 11 and a half weeks in 2012. And no one ever gave me permission to name him. No one told me that it was okay. And so I'm here today to tell each one of you, if you've lost a child through miscarriage, through pregnancy loss, I give you permission. Name that baby. It's part of the healing process. And if you have a sister or brother in heaven, I encourage you, little sprouts, to pray to them each night. Ask them for protection. Ask them to, what I say, go get Jesus' hand. Our family really needs you. And miraculously, because we have a good and gracious God, the Lord allows our little saints in heaven to intercede on our behalf.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
My name is Miss Kelly Breaux, co-founder of Redbird Ministries. Redbird Ministries serves ordinary families who have been given an extraordinary cross to carry called child loss. We partner with dioceses and parishes to provide Catholic programs, training, pathways to implementation, and ongoing formation. This allows the Church to mentor and serve families of child loss. If you would like to find out more information about our organization, please reach out to us at hello@redbird.love or on our website at redbird.love.
This show is a production of the Spoke Street Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.